Now I'm going to walk you through the NoMoreRansom.org website. I think this is a fantastic resource and it would be my go-to place if I was recovering from a ransomware attack. Even while I was recording this course, there was massive additions to the No More Ransom project with more vendors and more decryptors coming online. So I'm going to spend a bit of time really showing you the detail of this important site. To go to the site, all you have to do is type in https www.nomoreransom.org and make sure the site loads under a TLS or a secure connection. Once the site comes up, you're ready to go. At the top of the site, we see a whole load of different options available to the user. We're going to cover a lot of these in detail during this demo. As you can see, the site is made for any general consumer. It's not a techie site. You don't have to be technically qualified or competent to use this site. It's available for any consumer who has been affected by ransomware. You can point your friends and families to this site if you want them to be able to help themselves in a ransomware attack. At the end of the homepage, we see a number of different ransomware families that have been listed. These families, or certain variants of them, have decryptors available for them. We're going to have a look at that full list in a few moments. Let's start by looking at the Crypto Sheriff link. Clicking on Crypto Sheriff will bring up what is your initial stage in recovering from a ransomware attack. This page will help to identify the specific variant or family of ransomware that has attacked your PC. You can see here that there's options to upload files from your PC. It allows you to upload 2 different files. However, before you upload anything to the site, please familiarize yourself with the rules and regulation on data provisioning. They do request that you do not upload anything that is confidential. Remember, if you had a confidential, say, budget file or company document and it became encrypted, uploading this would mean that there is confidential information being provided to the site. Instead, use a document that isn't so sensitive because the same variant and family of malware will have encrypted all your files. You can also upload the ransom note or the ransom demand that was presented on the screen. If you can't find the text or HTML file, you can also type it in, but it should be very obvious where the ransomware note is. It's usually stored on the desktop. Once you've that done, hit the Go button, and NoMoreRansom.org will attempt to identify the family and variant of ransomware that has attacked your computer. Let's have a look now at the Q&A section of the site. It provides a whole load of information for anyone who's interested in understanding more about ransomware. It even provides a history of ransomware, similar to what we covered earlier in this course. It also provides a number of different screenshots of the encryption ransomware that you might see on your screen. Here's a sample of the different types of ransom demands that are presented for both crypto ransom and ransomware that locks your computer. There's a vast amount of information here if you want to familiarize yourself with ransomware. It also provides you some advice on whether or not you should pay the ransom. We're going to cover this in more detail later in the module, but one of the key takeaways here is that it says paying the ransom does not guarantee that you will get the decryption key back to recover your files. Another key takeaway here is the time limit. Usually victims have 72 hours to pay the ransom before the private key, which is required for decrypting your files, is destroyed. Now, some criminals have changed this approach and charged more the longer that you wait to pay the ransom instead of deleting the key, but it's something to keep in mind. You need to act quickly once you've been victim of a ransomware attack. This site also provides some prevention advice, and we see the number one piece of advice that they give is the good old boring backup. The reason for this is that having solid backups is the most effective means and sometimes the quickest means to recover from a ransomware attack. So no surprise there. Now we'll move on to look at the section that is of most interest to people who are in a fix. Their files have been encrypted with crypto ransomware. This is the decryption tools section of the site. Here you can see all the different families of ransomware where decryption tools are available. In this example, this tool from Kaspersky Lab provides decryption of all these different variants of ransomware. Let's jump down and have a look at the Popcorn Decryptor. The site provides a how-to guide link and also a link to download the tools provided by the anti-malware and antivirus vendors. Clicking on the how-to guide will more than often open a PDF or Word document or take you to a link on the specific vendor's website instructing you on how to use their tool to recover your files. Let's just have a look at this guide for recovering from a popcorn ransomware attack. 11paths provide this tool. It provides you with step-by-step instructions on how to install the tool, how to run the decryption software, and how you know when all your files will be recovered. Let's have a look at another ransomware variant here, this time TeslaCrypt. And we have a how-to guide from Kaspersky Labs. Again, it's very much in line with what we've seen with other decryption tools. You select the drive where the files were encrypted and you click the Start button. There's one thing I want to draw your attention to here, and it is something that may factor into your strategy for recovering from a ransomware attack. Take a note of this. It says password recovery can take significant time, up to several days, not hours or minutes, but days. Please don't close the application or turn off the computer. This is critical. You need to be aware that these tools will work their best, but it may take several days for them to recover your files. Some of these tools also have limitations on them and won't work in every scenario. If you've been hit by ransomware, you need to consider whether you want to pay the ransom or run one of these tools, and time may be a factor depending on the data and systems that have been impacted. Another thing to note for TeslaCrypt is that there's more than one vendor providing a tool. As well as Kaspersky, there is Intel Security. If you click on the download for Kaspersky, you can download a zip file which contains the decryptor within it. Clicking on the download link for Intel Security means that you're taken to their website in order to get the instructions of the how-to guide and also to download the tool. Keep in mind, some of these tools do have limitations. For example, here that we can see that this decryptor from Intel Security will only decrypt files with the following extension: MP3, Micro, XXX, and TTT extensions. If you've been hit with TeslaCrypt that has different file extensions, this decryptor most likely won't work for those. Another link on the site is to report a crime. Many law enforcement agencies around the world are partnered with the NoMoreRansom project. You should always report ransomware attacks to your local law enforcement. Finally, the site indicates the partners and creators of this initiative. We can see that Europol and some of the vendors are key founding members. There's also a large number of associate members, including many of the antivirus and anti-malware providers. Large and growing number of law enforcement agencies around the world are also now supporters of this initiative, as well as a large number of trade organizations, including a number of CERTs, the Computer Emergency Response Teams, around the world. That gives you an overview of the NoMoreRansom.org project. It is an incredibly valuable resource if you're trying to recover from a ransomware attack. I encourage you to go and have a look through this site and become very familiar with it before you need to actually use it. That way, when it comes to recovering from an attack, you will be very familiar with the tools that are available and how to navigate the site. Also remember that the tools and the number of ransomware families and variants is constantly increasing. So just because this site doesn't provide a tool for you to decrypt your files today, it's worth checking back regularly because there may be tools provided in the future that will allow you to recover your data.